The paddock never sleeps. But even in a sport known for its high-octane unpredictability, Red Bull just dropped a bomb that's left the grid wide-eyed and short of breath. After months of swirling rumours, it might be official very soon. Yuki Tsunoda will not be racing for Red Bull Racing beyond 2025. That's right, after 5 seasons in the system, the Japanese driver is being shown the exit door. But this isn't just about Tsunoda, this is about what comes next, and who comes with it. And it's even affecting Verstappen's future, because Red Bull isn't just reshuffling its second seat, they're looking to reshuffle the first one as well. Behind the scenes, another fuse is burning. Max Verstappen, the 4-time world champion, an anchor of Red Bull's recent dominance, may not be around in 2026 to see his new teammate at all. Despite being under contract until 2028, his future is, to quote the media, very much in doubt. Mercedes want him. Verstappen hasn't ruled them out. And with Christian Horner confirming last year that his contract contains a performance element, there's a pressure point coming, and it's called the Hungarian Grand Prix. If Max is outside the top 3 in the standings by then, boom, he can walk. Red Bull knows this, and they're scrambling to prepare for every possible scenario, including the doomsday one, a Verstappen exit. Do you think Verstappen will leave at the end of 2025? So when the team decided on Tsunoda's departure, it wasn't just a vacancy they opened, it was a warning shot. Red Bull is building something for the 2026 regulation overhaul, and they're doing it their way. No more outside mercenaries, no desperate talent poaching. This is Helmut Marko's world again, and that means one thing: Red Bull Junior program, first, second, and always. 2 names are now at the heart of the plan, and both are lighting fires of their own. First, Isack Hadjar, fast, disciplined, quietly brutal in his precision. After a rookie season with Racing Bulls in 2025, Hadjar has emerged as the frontrunner for the Red Bull seat, at least on paper. He's routinely outpaced Liam Lawson, a seasoned operator who was once Red Bull's next big thing. As the media put it, the Frenchman is much more consistent than expected at the highest level. The speed is there, and Hadjar makes few mistakes. But here's the wrinkle: consistency in F1 is only half the war. Pressure is the other, and in the junior categories, Hadjar cracked. Overheated radio rants, emotional decision-making. Red Bull's analysts see the improvement. He's quieter now, more composed. But the question lingers: what happens when he gets outqualified by Verstappen or someone with more experience than Hadjar 6 races in a row? What happens when the team starts whispering? Because waiting in the wings, like a ghost in the simulator, is Arvid Lindblad. Barely 17, still fresh from Formula 3, but Red Bull's newest obsession. Lindblad isn't just testing the 2026 machinery, he's been immersed in it. Simulator laps, closed-door test sessions, long runs in the RB21. The media report that Red Bull is now giving Lindblad so many test miles, which talents normally don't get. And that's not an accident. That's a signal. They see him as special, not just another junior, the new crown prince. In fact, during Hadjar's rise in F2, Helmut Marko casually told press, "We have a bigger talent in Formula 3, Arvid Lindblad." That's not a throwaway line. That's foreshadowing. At Silverstone, under massive pressure, Lindblad was given a chance to run the RB21 and held within range of Verstappen's lap times. Not headline-worthy to casual fans, but for Marko, it confirmed something vital. This kid doesn't fold. And now, the whispers have turned into shouts. Internally, Lindblad is being seen as the most prepared driver in the entire Red Bull pool. Not for the future, but for now. That's the real shocker. No Racing Bulls apprenticeship, no 18-month warm-up. Red Bull might throw him straight into the deep end in 2026 next to Verstappen, or whoever fills that seat, because that's the wildest possibility of them all. Red Bull might be preparing for a future without Max Verstappen. And if that's the case, Hadjar versus Lindblad isn't just about who partners the world champion. It's about who inherits the throne, who leads the post-Max era. And yes, The idea of launching into a revolutionary technical era with two rookie drivers is borderline insane. But Red Bull has never been normal. Neither was Sebastian Vettel, neither was Max. So, who flinches first? Hadjar, the polished, composed junior with a taste of the big time, or Lindblad, the silent simulator assassin being trained in secret? Because what Red Bull just detonated isn't just a driver decision, it's a culture shift, a youth revolution, and maybe a sign that the Verstappen era is closer to its end than any of us dared believe. If Red Bull's future is unstable, Mercedes is actively trying to make it explosive. The whispers about Max Verstappen heading to Brackley aren't just rumor, they're structural tremors. According to the media, a deal is close. Mercedes' CEO, Ola Källenius, has reportedly given it the green light. And that exit clause? It's as real as the stopwatch. If Verstappen drops below third in the championship after Hungary, he can walk. Right now, he's clinging to third, 18 points clear of George Russell. But in Formula One, a single DNF can change the weather. Toto Wolff knows this. That's why he's keeping all the pieces mobile. He's even plotting where to send Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes' golden prodigy, if Verstappen joins. And guess where he might go? Alpine. That's right, Mercedes' new engine customer starting 2026. That would clear the board for a Verstappen-Russell lineup. The irony, Max and George can't stand each other. Their war of words from 2024 is still simmering. Yet Wolff is unfazed. He smirks through questions like, "Could you imagine Verstappen and Russell in the same team?" His response, "I can imagine every lineup. I had Rosberg and Hamilton fighting for a world championship, so everything else afterwards is easy." That's not defiance, that's preparation. Meanwhile, Red Bull are bracing for the worst, because if Max walks, they don't just lose a driver, they lose their identity. That's when the Lindblad question becomes a full-on gamble. And Liam Lawson? Well, he's become the inconvenient truth in Red Bull's matrix. Once deemed the next breakthrough star, he was fast-tracked to replace Perez in 2025, but completely collapsed under pressure. 2 Q1 exits in a row, zero pace. Shanghai was a disaster. Christian Horner had hoped he'd be Red Bull's answer to Russell. Instead, he was booted back down to Racing Bulls by race 4, and Yuki Tsunoda claimed his seat mid-season. Lawson's confidence never recovered, and it showed. But there's nuance. Since returning to Racing Bulls, Lawson has clawed his way back, quietly. Points in Monaco, a 6th-place miracle in Austria, and behind the scenes, Laurent Mekies claims the Kiwi's technical input has been crucial. He's mentoring Hadjar, stabilizing the garage, and keeping development focused. The New Zealand Herald even reported that Lawson is now increasingly likely to stay with Racing Bulls in 2026 as the senior driver. Because if Red Bull do promote Hadjar, or go nuclear and drop Lindblad directly into the big team, they'll need someone experienced down at Faenza. Someone who can absorb pressure, mentor the rookie, and offer calm in the chaos of the new 2026 regulations. Lawson may never wear Red Bull blue again, but he might become indispensable to the machine anyway. The wildest subplot? Lindblad's trajectory now mirrors Verstappen's own rise, straight from junior formulas to the F1 front line. Red Bull threw Verstappen into the fire at 17. Now, they might do the same to Arvid. And here's the full circle tension. What if Max walks, and Lindblad doesn't just debut in F1, but leads the Red Bull factory team at 18 years old? That scenario is no longer fantasy. It's being simulated, in Milton Keynes, every day. Because while the headlines scream, Verstappen to Mercedes, Red Bull's test program is preparing for exactly that. Lindblad has been embedded, on purpose. There's belief that he might not need a Faenza stepping stone, that he could be Red Bull's youngest ever lead driver. The next chapter of a dynasty that doesn't wait for experience, it manufactures it. So we end where we began, on a knife's edge. Max Verstappen might be leaving the team that built its empire around him. Yuki Tsunoda has already been cast aside. Liam Lawson is the journeyman who failed upward, And now, Red Bull's entire future rests on a binary: Hadjar or Lindblad. Hadjar has the stats, the maturity, the safe hands. Lindblad, he has the mystery, the simulator data, the whispers, the spark. Which one gets the seat? And if Max goes, who stands on the grid in Bahrain 2026 driving a Red Bull? Helmut Marko has always said, pressure makes diamonds. But 2026 may not be about diamonds. It might be about survival.